Dean Martin was hosting his annual summer party at his Beverly Hills mansion on a perfect June afternoon in 1964, surrounded by 50 guests, music playing, drinks flowing, when he heard something that made him freeze mid-conversation. Splashing. Desperate splashing. Not the playful kind, the panicked kind. Dean turned toward his pool, 20 yards away, and there, thrashing in the deep end, was a small dog. Brown and white, terrier, going under, coming back up, gasping, panicking. Nobody else had noticed yet. The music was loud, people were talking, laughing. Dean didn't yell for help, didn't call for someone else. He just ran. And without breaking stride, still wearing his tuxedo, his dress shoes, his watch, he dove into the pool. What happened in the next 60 seconds changed how everyone at that party saw Dean Martin. Because what they discovered about that dog explained everything about why Dean had reacted the way he did. This wasn't just a rescue, it was something deeper. Something that proved Dean Martin's heart was bigger than anyone knew. It was June 20th, 1964, Beverly Hills, California. Dean Martin's house in the hills. Beautiful property, big house, bigger pool, manicured lawn, mountain views. Dean threw this party every summer. Friends, fellow performers, industry people, some family. It was always the same. Good food, good drinks, good company. Dean was a gracious host, made sure everyone had what they needed, talked to everyone, made them feel welcome. This year, about 50 people had come. The party had been going for 2 hours. Everything was perfect. Dean was by the bar, talking to a producer friend. They were discussing a new film. Dean was laughing about something, holding a drink, completely relaxed. This was his element, his home, his people. Then he heard it, that sound, splashing, different from the normal pool sounds. His head turned automatically, scanning, looking for the source, and he saw it, a dog, in the pool, in the deep end. About 10 feet from the edge, small dog, maybe 20 pounds, brown and white coat, looked like a Jack Russell Terrier. The dog was struggling, front legs paddling frantically, head barely above water, going under, coming back up, mouth open, gasping, eyes wide with terror. This was a dog that couldn't swim, or couldn't swim well enough, and it was drowning. Dean's brain processed everything in a split second. The dog was too far from the edge to reach it with his hand. Nobody else had noticed. The music was loud. People were on the other side of the pool, talking, not paying attention. By the time Dean yelled for someone, explained the situation, got them to react, the dog would be dead. There was no time. Dean had maybe 30 seconds before the dog went under and didn't come back up. Dean dropped his drink. It hit the concrete patio. Glass shattered, ice scattered. Nobody noticed. The music was still playing. People were still talking, laughing, completely unaware. Dean started running, full sprint, straight toward the pool, across the patio, past tables, past people. He was wearing a tuxedo, full black tux, custom made, probably cost $2,000. Black jacket, white shirt with cufflinks, black bow tie, black pants with a silk stripe, patent leather dress shoes, shined to perfection. A Rolex Submariner on his wrist, gold, worth more than a car. None of it mattered, not for 1 second. He hit the edge of the pool at full speed and dove. Didn't slow, didn't pause, didn't take off anything, just dove. Clean arc, arms extended, straight into the deep end. The splash was massive. Water erupted, went everywhere. That got people's attention. Heads whipped around. Conversations stopped mid-sentence. Music seemed to get quieter. Everyone turning to look. What the hell? Who just jumped in the pool fully dressed? Dean surfaced fast, water streaming from his hair, tuxedo jacket ballooning with air. He kicked hard, swimming toward the dog with powerful strokes. Fast, purposeful. The dog was 15 feet away, going under again. Dean reached it in seconds, just seconds. The dog was sinking, head going below the surface. Dean grabbed it, lifted its head above water with one hand. The dog gasped, coughed, choked, still panicking, clawing at Dean desperately, scratching his face, his neck, his arms, drawing blood, trying to climb on top of him like he was a life raft. Dean didn't flinch, didn't pull away, just held the dog up firmly, kept its head above water, turned toward the edge, started swimming. One arm swim, strong kicks, other arm holding the dog up, supporting it, protecting it. He reached the edge. Someone was there now. A woman Dean recognized, Betsy, one of his neighbors. She looked terrified. "Oh my God, Charlie, that's my Charlie." She reached down, grabbed the dog from Dean, pulled it out. The dog was coughing, choking, but alive. Betsy was crying, "Charlie, oh Charlie, are you okay?" The dog coughed up water, started breathing normally. Betsy was hugging it, crying into its fur. Dean pulled himself out of the pool. Water poured off him. His tuxedo was ruined, shoes waterlogged, watch dripping. He stood there, breathing hard. Betsy looked up at him. "Dean, I'm so sorry. I don't know how he got in the pool. I was just talking to someone and—" Dean waved his hand. "It's okay. He's okay. That's what matters." The party had stopped. Everyone was staring. Dean Martin, soaking wet, in a destroyed tuxedo, standing by the pool. Someone brought him a towel. Dean took it, draped it over his shoulders, didn't bother wiping off, just stood there, looking at the dog. The dog was calming down, still in Betsy's arms, shaking, but alive. That's when Betsy said something that made everyone go quiet. "Dean, you don't understand. Charlie isn't just my dog, he's—" Her voice broke, couldn't finish. Dean's face changed. "I know," he said quietly. Betsy looked at him, shocked. "You know?" Dean nodded. "Yeah, I know. That's why I jumped." The crowd was confused. Whispers. Someone asked, "What's going on? What's so special about the dog?" Betsy wiped her eyes, took a shaky breath, started talking, through tears that wouldn't stop. "My son, Tommy, Thomas Michael Harris. He died 6 months ago, December 15th, 3 days before Christmas, leukemia, acute lymphoblastic leukemia. Diagnosed when he was 7. We fought it for 2 years. Chemotherapy, radiation, bone marrow transplants. He was so brave, braver than me, braver than his father. He was 9 years old when he died, just 9. Charlie was his dog, his best friend. They were inseparable from the day we brought Charlie home. Tommy was 6. Charlie was a puppy. They grew up together. When Tommy was in the hospital, Charlie would wait by the front door every single day, all day, waiting for him to come home. When he didn't come home, Charlie kept waiting, every day, by that door. For 3 months. He wouldn't eat, wouldn't play, just waited. The vet said he was dying of grief. I didn't know dogs could do that. Die of grief. Die from missing someone so much their body just gives up. I couldn't lose Charlie too. He's all I have left of Tommy. The last piece of my son that's still alive and breathing. Dean knew. I told him about Tommy, about Charlie, 2 weeks ago at the market. Ralph's on Sunset. I was in the produce section, trying to figure out what to buy. Everything reminded me of Tommy. He loved grapes, hated broccoli, would only eat carrots if they were cut into coins. I was standing there crying over vegetables, pathetic. And Dean appeared, just there, putting oranges in his cart. He saw me crying, didn't walk away, didn't pretend not to notice. He came over, asked if I was okay, and I broke down. Told him everything, about Tommy, about the leukemia, about watching my baby boy waste away, about how I couldn't save him. about Charlie, about how the dog was dying from missing Tommy, about how I didn't know what to do. We stood there for 30 minutes. In the produce section, Dean just listened. Didn't try to fix it, didn't offer empty platitudes, just listened. And when I finished, he said, she looked at Dean, tears streaming. He said that love doesn't end when someone dies, that Charlie wasn't waiting for Tommy. Charlie was keeping Tommy alive, by remembering, by loving, by refusing to forget. That as long as Charlie remembered, Tommy was still real, still mattered, still existed in the world. Dean's voice was soft but clear. Everyone could hear him now. The party was completely silent. I remember everything you told me, Betsy, about Tommy, about how he loved baseball, how he wanted to be a pitcher for the Dodgers, about how Charlie would sit with him during chemo, how the hospital let Charlie visit because he was the only thing that made Tommy smile, about how Tommy made you promise you'd take care of Charlie after he was gone, about how Tommy's last words to you were, "Tell Charlie I'll see him again," about how Charlie would curl up with Tommy's shirt every night because it still smelled like him, about how Charlie wouldn't let anyone sit in Tommy's chair at the dinner table, about how that dog would bring Tommy's baseball mitt to you every morning like he was asking where his boy was, about how that dog loved that boy more than anything, more than food, more than comfort, more than life. He looked at Charlie. The dog was watching him now, eyes locked on Dean. When I saw him in the pool, struggling, drowning, I didn't think about my clothes or my watch or my shoes. I just knew. That dog can't die. Not like this. Not drowning at a party while people laugh and drink. He's carrying Tommy with him. Every day, every breath. He's keeping that boy alive, keeping his memory real. And I couldn't let that end. Not if I could stop it. Betsy was sobbing now, clutching Charlie. The dog looked at Dean. Something in its eyes. Recognition, maybe. Or gratitude. Dean walked over, knelt down, water dripping from his clothes. He petted Charlie gently. "You're okay, little guy. You're gonna be okay. And you're gonna keep loving Tommy. Keep remembering him. Because that's what dogs do. They love forever." The party didn't really continue after that. People stayed, but the mood had changed. From celebration to something more somber, more real. People talked quietly, came up to Betsy, offered condolences. Many hadn't known about Tommy, hadn't known she'd lost her son. Dean changed clothes, came back down in jeans and a t-shirt. His tuxedo was laid out by the pool. Ruined. He didn't care. Later, as people were leaving, Betsy found Dean. Charlie was in her arms, sleeping, exhausted. "Dean, I can never repay you." Dean shook his head. "You don't need to repay anything. That dog means something. He's not just a pet. He's memory. He's love. He's proof that Tommy existed and mattered. That's worth a tuxedo. Hell, that's worth everything." Betsy asked, "Why didn't you tell anyone? About Tommy? About why you jumped?" Dean looked at her. "Because it's not my story to tell. It's yours, and Tommy's, and Charlie's. I just help keep it going." Betsy hugged him, one-armed, other arm holding Charlie. "Thank you. Thank you for understanding. Thank you for seeing that Charlie isn't just a dog." The guests who'd stayed overheard, started understanding why Dean had jumped without hesitation, why he'd ruined his tuxedo, why he'd looked at that dog the way he did. It wasn't just a rescue, it was an act of love. Protecting something precious, something that couldn't be replaced. A dog that was more than a dog that was a bridge to a lost child. Dean Martin didn't tell this story, didn't talk about it in interviews, didn't mention it on his show. It was just something that happened. A summer day, a party, a dog in trouble, and a man who understood that some lives are worth more than what they appear to be. That sometimes a dog isn't just a dog. It's a memory, a connection, a piece of someone you lost. Stories like this one deserve to be remembered. The moments when legends proved they understood loss, the compassion shown to those carrying grief. If you want to hear more stories about the people who shaped an era, the humanity shown in unexpected moments, and the love that transcends loss, this channel tells those stories. Because these aren't just tales about famous people. They're lessons about recognizing what matters to others. Charlie lived for 5 more years after that day. Betsy said he was different after Dean saved him. Calmer, like he understood he still had a purpose. He still slept with Tommy's shirt, still waited by the door sometimes. But he also started playing again, eating again, living again. Betsy would bring Charlie to visit Dean a few times a year. Dean always made time, always knelt down to pet Charlie, always said, "Hey buddy, you keeping Tommy alive?" And Charlie would wag his tail, like he understood. When Charlie died in 1969, Betsy called Dean, told him. Dean came to her house, helped her bury Charlie in her backyard, under a tree, next to where she'd buried Tommy's favorite toys. Dean put a marker on the grave. Charlie, Tommy's best friend, a good dog who loved with his whole heart. Now they're together again. They stood there, Dean and Betsy, quiet. Then Dean said, "Tommy had the best friend a kid could ask for, and Charlie had the best boy a dog could hope for. That kind of love doesn't end. Not really." That's the Dean Martin story that should be told. Not just the performer, not just the cool image, but the man who jumped into a pool in a tuxedo to save a dog because he understood that dog was more than a pet. He was a lifeline, a memory keeper, the last physical connection to a lost child. Dean Martin saw a dog drowning, and in that split second understood everything that dog represented. And he didn't hesitate, didn't calculate the cost, just jumped. Because some things are worth more than tuxedos and watches and dry clothes. Some things are worth everything, and a mother's last connection to her son was one of those things. The crowd froze when they learned the truth, not because Dean jumped, but because Dean knew. He knew what that dog meant, and he jumped anyway. That's not just heroism, that's love. That's seeing someone's grief and choosing to protect what little they have left. And that's why we remember his name.